Come with me for the first ride on our new saddlebred. So this is Broadway, or B-dubs for short. He's a 6-year-old registered paint saddlebred, and we got him from a friend who really needed to rehome him. She had only had him for a handful of weeks. We don't know a whole lot about his history except that he was owned by an amateur for, I think, the majority of his riding career. He was kept in a stall for most of his life, as a lot of show horses are, and that he really preferred hunt seat instead of saddle seat. And he really didn't like a full bridle. So right now we have him just in a Kimberwick and a hunt seat saddle. So the lady we got him from was very, very honest and upfront with the habits that he had. He's very pushy on the ground. I made a video about it. And under saddle, he had a really bad habit of balking. And what that is where they mostly just plant their feet and refuse to go forward. And I see this a lot with younger horses with amateur owners because honestly, they can be a little intimidating and they get away with not doing the things that are asked of them. So the goal of this first ride was really just to see what buttons he had and kind of feel him out and see what he knew and see if any of the balking came up, as well as make the first ride as calm, cool, collected as possible because we want him to like his life here. So we asked him for his first trot. He balked just a little bit that I didn't get, and all we did was give him a little boot and he moved right forward. He really didn't actually try to stop that hard, which I was really happily surprised with because sometimes if you get balkers, it's a real fight. So I kind of just played around. He had really, really soft pressure on the bit. I had barely any pressure on my reins. He responded really nicely to me asking him to move forward. His ears were perked up. You can see he looks pretty content to just be going. And that sitting trot was smooth as hell. This first transition, really nice coming down and continuing forward at your walk. In saddle seat, we turned towards the wall. So I know I'm in a hunt seat saddle here, but I figured I'd stick to what he probably knew. We do a lot of quarter horses here, so I grew up riding some saddlebreds, and this kind of took me back to my roots. It truly is a completely different way of riding, a completely different way of them traveling. I love it. The biggest thing is that his head is literally 2 feet from mine, so I feel like he is right up in my hands. And like I said, you can see a little bit of loop in the rein. I tried to reassure him as much as possible and make this a really easy, quiet ride. So then I figured it was time for a canter because he was way better than I actually thought he was. He didn't have a great pickup. He struggled a lot with his leads. I don't love running a horse into a canter in general, so shame on me for this. However, he seemed to be confused about how to be cued for it. It was kind of different both directions. But honestly, for a first ride, I was just excited that he didn't bolt with me and that we could get him on the correct lead. So coming down, he was rather forward at the walk. That's okay with me. I just like to reset them, send him off the other way, and then let him settle a little bit. I don't want him anticipating that next canter or anticipating a trot, so we just let him settle. And again, we were expecting him to be a balker and not have that many buttons, so I was hyped that we could even have breaks in the first place. And then we took him off for a second canter. The transition, again, a little rough, and he's definitely a bit more forward this direction. But considering the lack of rides and what we knew about him, I was just really excited that these transitions weren't explosive. He's actually relatively smooth at the canter. You can see he has a pretty even gait. He's very out of shape and also a bit underweight. So we've been working on feeding him and lifting that top line, but he doesn't carry himself very well. It's workable. It's definitely workable. And you can see him coming right down from that trot. Wicked, wicked comfy. Honestly, for a first ride, considering what we knew about the guy, I could not possibly be happier with him. He's got way more buttons than I could have anticipated him having. He seems really willing to work, and he seems to actually enjoy being in there. So going forward, we're going to keep working on him, get his top line a little bit better, get some weight on him, get him a little bit calmer and a little bit more responsive to those cues, and he's going to end up being an amazing horse.